So a little while ago, I made this RPG kit for Roblox. It wasn't the best. It wasn't my best work, but because it suddenly just became the most viewed video on my channel, I was like, huh, maybe I should fix this thing. Maybe I should make it better. So I did that. It's a lot better now. Okay, after some thought, I decided the best way I could give you this new version instead of having an update installer and stuff like that would be to uncopy lock this version. So I can't have the installer plugin really work with this because the installer plugin is made to install it or replace an existing version. So it can't really update it. It would only destroy all the work you've done. So what I will do is include a link in the description that links to the place file, or the place actually, that this game is, and there will be three little dots on the game above the play button. You click edit and you will have this place. You can save it as your own file, do whatever you want with it. But that's how I will release the new version because there isn't really a way for me to make the kit update itself. Because this is such an overhaul that everything is different. The way everything works is totally different. If you want your old version to work with this new version, you're going to have to adapt it manually. I can't really help you too much with that. Just whenever you want to make your custom enemy types or custom items work, use the new methods instead, which are already in this video. Hopefully someone links to the timestamps in the description like someone did last time. Very helpful. Please, please do that. But yeah, on with the rest of the video. So already you'll probably notice a few new things, but trust me, there's a lot more to go over. So if you go in the README, you'll see that I've actually updated this. You can see everything I added here. This isn't everything, but this is a general idea of the major things that I changed and added. Some of this other stuff has also been updated, so it's not outdated and broken. But firstly, and most importantly, the animation system is no longer this custom thing I made. It's just the Roblox animation system. The Roblox animation system is so much better than what I made. I don't know what I was thinking. But because of that, now you have to go ahead and find the animation files folder right here. You have to manually export all of these because Roblox doesn't let you share animations with each other. Oh god, why do I sound like I'm sick? But yeah, you can't share animations with each other in Roblox, so the best thing I can do is give you the animation files, and then you have to go ahead and open up the animation editor plugin. Click on a rig or something like spawn in a dummy using the dummy plugin like this, and then just go ahead, click on it, go find one of these things. It's going to ask you to create a new animation clip, that's fine, but to load one of these in, you have to copy it, just duplicate it, put it in the dummy. Usually there's, why is this not here? Hold on, let me, okay, just do save as, new, whatever. Now you have this anim saves thing inside this dummy. Put this in there. Wow, it's in there. Now you have to go over to load, and then you can load in this animation file. Just ignore the warning. But uh, oh, I loaded it in the wrong one. Okay, this is an R15. Okay, this is good. This is an R15 attack, right? And this is an R6 rig, meaning there are 6 body parts. This is made for the player, which has 15 body parts. The enemies have 6 body parts. So what you're going to have to do is, for R15 attacks, you're going to need to load one of these R15 avatars. Doesn't really matter what it looks like. And then you're going to have to click on the rig, create a new animation, do the same thing. You just save. Now you have this dummy that has more body parts than this guy, so he's better. You go in the anim saves, just put R15 attacks in here. You know what? Go ahead and just take all the R15 attacks and shove them in there. And then go ahead and find the R6 attacks, copy all those, and put them in here, which is the R6 dummy, R15 dummy. Now you have all these animations loaded. So if you want to be able to use these, you gotta load these animations, ignore warning. See, there's one of the animations. This is the attack for the player. So now you have to export it, name it whatever you want, preferably the animation name, and just go export. Once you've exported it, it'll give you this link, and then you can just go ahead, go to the link, copy whatever the ID is. There's just a number thing. You know what? I'll do it here. Test. Satori. Anyway, that doesn't matter. Got this link right here. Click on it, and then copy this number part. And once you have the numbers, you have your animation ID. So go ahead and go to the animations folder, update these all with the animation IDs of whatever you exported. That's the hardest thing you're going to have to do. That's the reason I made a custom animation system. It's really not that bad, but I don't think it was worth making my own animation system and destroying everyone's games. It had a memory leak. But that's not a problem anymore. So we're all good now, right? Another thing to note is that if you go ahead and look in the RPG system, it's a lot shorter. And that's because all the functions and stuff have been moved into this modules folder. All of these are what control what the game does now. And that's so much nicer. Stuff like player functions, this is where the stuff saves and loads. Player added connection. This will make it a lot easier for you to edit attacks for enemies and things. So you just add one of these. I'll go over that later. I don't know if I mentioned this last tutorial video, but the spawn regions used to only support no rotation and this size. Now it supports any rotation in any size. So if I wanted to make an enemy region that only spawns enemies in this very thin line within this cube, this rectangular prism, at that rotation, it would work. Also, you have your spawn regions. You'll notice something is different about this. There's now a maximum enemies count per spawn region instead of per area. So now you can have like one enemies type spawn while a bunch of other enemy types spawn. You have a lot more control over that now. Also, there are new default enemy types. Actually, I have to show you those. So, default enemy types include the new archer enemy. They can shoot you. They strafe. They're kind of annoying. There's also this fire mage guy. It's not like the attack is instant too. You can actually dodge them if you just get out of the way of the fire. I've also changed up the way this guy works so that it only does damage whenever you're... Okay, maybe the lag is causing this to not work sometimes, but it only does damage when you're touching one of these things. But yeah, you can see now it only does damage when you're inside of a laser. You probably also noticed that, holy crap, there's a lot of stuff on the UI menu, isn't there? So, right here, you got defense. Defense was always in the kit. It's part of the armor system. You also have this armor menu. You can equip and unequip armor from anywhere in the game now. You don't have to do it in the shop. There's also sound effects for that. You could disable that if you want. I don't know. Yeah. I just wanted to add it. So you got arrows and mana. This is my way of balancing the ranged weapons into not being super OP against the melee weapons. I have a ton of arrows though. So, say you have this bow. Now you need arrows to use it. Yeah, I got him. Boom, boom. Oh, yeah. Every time I shoot, an arrow has been used. Oh. Also, when you get a headshot, critical hit. Sometimes you can get arrows as drops, because I added that to the drop system. Ow. Also, there's XP stuff, so that this happens. Also, mana. Mana's for magic weapons. This thing uses a lot of mana. This is the mana refill pool at spawn. Just hop in, get your mana back. But this thing is unquestionably OP. So if you manage to get all the enemies to go together, this is what you can do. I missed it. This thing has infinite piercing. If you don't have access to this, and you are running out of mana, you could also go ahead and use a mana potion. Wow, I got more mana. You can get these at shops, because they're in the shop system now, also health potions. Yeah, you can also sell them. Just sell all of them. There you go. I have a lot of flame scepters, apparently. Alright, next thing on this cool UI stuff is this little tree thing. Go back to spawn. That's all it does. Next on the list, attributes. This is this thing. This is supposed to be elements. I don't know what it looks like to you, but it doesn't look like elements to me. You can reset points at any time. Just put them into stuff. Just keep going, like, put them into everything at the same time or something. I don't know. Anyway, vitality. Oh, that happens when you reset your vitality. Because vitality increases your maximum health. Yes. Mythicality increases your maximum mana. So if I go up, you can see that my mana is no longer yellow, which means it's not max. So if I step in the pool, this is maximum mythicality. Crazy. Power is kind of hard to explain, actually. Let me show you. So if I have this starter sword, and I start whacking against this guy, I'm doing like 5s, 2s, 4s, 1s, 2s, some random number of damage, right? But if I increase my power, my chances of getting a high number are increased. With maximum power, you're always going to get the maximum damage. I'm always going to get 5s now, because I have maximum power. Also, something else I didn't explain was that numbers, when you do damage, are color dependent now. So, if your damage is greater than a third, I think, of their health, it'll be red. And if it's greater than a sixth, it'll be yellow. Significant damage. Anyway, haste is just speed. If I increase it while I'm walking, I go faster. Well, you'll go faster no matter what you do. But haste is speed. I'm fast. You can just reset them anytime. Lastly on this UI stuff is the quest menu. I already have a quest, but I should probably get rid of all my quests so you'll see what new players see. Boop. I should probably get rid of my completed quest too. This is from testing. Now, I have no quests, and it'll say I can talk to these people for quests, right? Some of them aren't people. You can put whatever you want there, but there's a little thing above them. There's an exclamation point. Means there's a quest here. Wow! There's rewards and a description and objective. All that's automatic. Once you accept the quest, you can do it if you want, but you can also track it so you can see what you're actually doing. You can do it without tracking, is the important part. You can actually have multiple requirements for a quest. Wow, I got a lot of stuff. Once you complete the quest, you can't go over here again. You can't go over there once you accept it either, like... Boop. Oh, okay. These guys need to die. It says, stop being a cactus. Yes, it is. I would know. And then the objective is travel to a given destination, which is the desert. I accept it. I can't talk to him. I can track it if I want, but I don't actually have to. So I go to the desert, completed the quest. I can use it to spawn if I don't want to go all the way back to the portal. The last default quest is this guy. He's very evil. Anyway, objective, obtain beginner staff. Oh, my mouse is stuck. Uh, okay, I might need to fix that actually. If you go in first person, you get your mouse stuck. That's an easy fix though. Um, so this guy is asking stuff. Take beginner stuff. Basically, go get the item. You can buy it from the shop. Boom. Oh, good. I got an attribute point. Completed the quest. That's nice. Anyway, that's the basic stuff. That's what it looks like in action. Most of the new stuff. All of that has been added to the save system and everything. It's all been tested. You can take a look at all this stuff. It's not all of it's really that major, but that's nice, right? It's got his stuff to work with. Now, before we move on to how to add stuff, I just want to let you know there is a server settings folder. You probably knew this before, but here's where you can modify all the important things. You can even disable some effects like unloaded areas. You can disable the XP collection effects. You can modify the caps for the attributes. Modify all this stuff. An important one is rank cap. So, first thing, how to add a quest. That's probably something you probably want to do. So the first thing you want to do is actually make a new quest in the quest folder. I would recommend duplicating one that already exists. These are the default here. All of these have different quest types, like defeat enemies, touch orb, and obtain items. Like I said, the defeat enemies can have multiple requirements, and the obtain items you can make the player need to obtain multiple items. But this one called touch orb is basically the travel to the desert quest. There is an invisible orb right here. I will show you what it looks like. Wow, whenever they spawn and they touch it. So to complete that quest type, you need to touch an orb. Let's add an easy type of quest. This one is a defeat enemies quest, the one called Goblin War. You get it from this lady. That was kind of creepy. Anyway, you don't actually have to have an NPC there, but I just prefer to do it because it makes them go over there and they're like, oh, I'll talk to this person who's giving me this quest. The quest system doesn't require it. Say I want you to spawn in with a quest. Put a little quest thing here. It's kind of a bad way to do it. I don't think you should do that actually. Uh, okay, just for the example here, I'm just gonna put one. Just gonna put one right here. This is our orb. Name it something that you can see, like the letter A. The letter A is pretty nice. Uh, but first thing we need to actually do is copy this quest of the quest type. This one is defeat enemies quest. Let's give it a name. How about the best quest? Great. Everyone likes this quest. Leave the quest type as defeat enemies because that's what we're doing. The description, totally up to you. This is just quest information. And there you go. I have my description set. The progress folder, you don't really need to touch that. It just has to be empty. The requirements folder, this is where you're going to put your required enemy kills. So if you want the player to have to kill 10 goblins, you have an int value, which is an integer value, no decimals, just a whole number, and you name it whatever the enemy name is. And the value of that is how many enemies you need to kill. So I want this to make you kill 5 goblins and 1 goblin archer. That's an easy quest. The rewards, whatever you want. The reward system currently supports armor, item drops, and stats, like XP and gold are stats. the way you differentiate those is based on this type value inside of the folder. So if I want to award the player XP, add a folder in here with the name XP, make sure it has a type, which is a string value, name stat, or name type, but the value of it is stat because XP is a stat, and then it has an int value named amount. The value of that is how much XP you're going to get. Similar thing happens with items, but instead you just need to give it a type because why would you award multiple of an item? Arrows are also a stat. For armor, you would just, I think I have an armor awarding quest over here. For armor, you just name it armor, give it the type armor. Pretty simple. So for here, I'm gonna keep this XP reward. I'm actually gonna give you one, like a lot of XP actually. You did really good on this quest. You did a lot, you did a good job. And don't need gold. Gold is bad. Don't need an item. Maybe give them one arrow. They deserve it. That's great. So there you go. You have your kill enemies quest, but there's no way to get it. So we're gonna copy the quest name and go back to that orb we made called A and give it this name. So whenever you touch this orb, it will give you the quest, or at least offer you the quest. And it'll also have that little exclamation point above it. So if we hit play, you'll see there's a random quest here. That's my description, alright. It also has this scrolling frame system, it's pretty nice. Thank you for reading. Objective, defeat 5 goblins and 1 goblin archer. Accept. Great. Let me track it so I can see my progress. Alright. Oh god, that's gonna be a problem, isn't it? Whenever it updates, it actually scrolls back up. I could try to fix that. Anyway, I did it. I got a lot of XP, and now I'm level 33, and I have way more XP than I should. Every time I kill something, it probably will level me up now. I have more XP than anyone else in the universe. Alright, that quest sucks. Alright, let's do a different type of quest. Where wizardry is a quest type. Obtain items. Copy that quest type in here and just make this that. So now, to complete this quest that we just had, you have to obtain items. So the requirements has to be a little bit differently set up here. Insert a model. It actually doesn't have to be model, just something that has a name, I guess. But the name of this stuff in here has to be the name of an item you have to get. So if I have multiple here, like I need a health potion and a beginner staff. What kind of quest is that? And the rewards can be whatever you want. I'll just give them 1 XP. That's beautiful. And the quest is pretty much done there. Since this isn't a new quest, it's something we already did, I can't do it again since I've already completed it because it's part of the save system. But if you want to test this stuff out and uncomplete it, just go ahead and find it in your completed quest folder. Make sure you're on the server side next to the test button and delete that quest from your completed quest. Now you can do it again. This time I have to obtain beginner staff and health potion. Do I have a health potion? I have the beginner staff. Health potion. Yay, I did it! I got 1 XP. That's pretty much the obtain items quest. So for the last quest type, we're gonna need to do something kind of weird. So the prickly welcome quest is actually of quest type touch orb. Let's change our quest type to touch orb. The requirements is only allowed to have 1 because to complete this quest you touch something, right? So you can't have it so you touch multiple things. It doesn't really make sense. So let's go ahead, take this touch thing, put it in our requirements folder. It doesn't have to be named touch, I don't think. But the important part is that this value is an object value and it points to whatever orb you have to touch. Currently we don't have an orb. So let's put an orb in here. Let's find our quest trigger here. This is the best quest. Let's duplicate it, put it inside the trigger, name it whatever you want, like touch. Make it transparent so people can't see it. Put it wherever you want them to go. I'll put this one at spawn. So whenever they get this quest to complete it, they have to touch spawn, which is awful. And there's nothing telling them that they have to do it. So make sure your description says something about having to do it. Alright, I completed the quest. I have to uncomplete it. If I were actually making this into a real quest, then I would want to tell the player where they have to go in the description. Objective, travel to the given destination, because it doesn't know where you have to go. It hopes you do it from the description. So I go spawn. Oh wait, that's right, I didn't set up the trigger. Hold on. If you have this problem too, go back to your requirements, make sure you click on this and set the value to whatever you have to touch. That should fix your problem. Quest. Accept the offer. Now I have to touch spawn. Boom. 1 XP. And that's the quest system. Hopefully it's easy enough to understand. I don't want it to be too complicated. It's pretty flexible. You can add more quest types, but I'm not going to go over how to do that because you'll learn how to script in the process if you try. I will direct you to where you should go though. If you head over to server modules and go over to the quest system, you'll find that each quest type has a module here. This stuff is required. The only thing that isn't required is this. Progress setup is optional. Let's go over how to add an enemy actually. So you still have this enemies in server storage situation going, but this time when you add an enemy type, it's similar to how you did it before. You just gave it a name, but instead of going into the script manually and editing it, you have this attacks module. So you go in here, you'll notice that each enemy type now has their own function. So when you want an enemy to attack, you have to add one of these functions in. You can do whatever you want. It's literally just going to run code. But if you don't want to add your own, you can just use the default ones here. So if I add one called Boxer, just have to make sure it has this enemy in here. And you can literally do whatever you want inside of this thing. Your code is just going to be run. You can refer to the other ones for help on how to do that. I think that's all you have to do to add an enemy now. Oh yeah, there's also, don't forget about this, enemy types and replicate storage. Do that. Now, adding an item is a little bit different too. So if I want to add a new staff and name it like staff, that's a great name. And I change the stats and whatever I want to do. But now this one has a different item type. I want this staff to be special. I want this staff to be of item type staff. You can use the default item types. That's totally fine. It'll work like you want it to. But if you want to make your weapons a little bit special, you make a custom item type. And whenever you do add an item type, there are a few things you have to touch. Over here in the RPG client, start player scripts, all that good stuff, you have to go to the item functions thing. This is where the client effects happen whenever you use it. Make a new function for that. Once again, you can refer to the other functions to see what you're supposed to do. But again, you just copy it over, run code. That's how it works. Only thing you have to know is that this name of the function right here, the staff part, the bow part, whatever, the sword, has to be the same name as the item type. Do the same thing with player functions, use functions. This is what happens on the server side when you use an item. So when I use a staff on the server side, it's like, this is where I'll do a box cast, which is a weird system I made actually. But bow, it's just a rate cast, right? Rate cast. It has to check if you have an arrow, use it, all that good stuff. I'm sure you can figure it out. One last thing, weapon strong attacks. If you want your weapon to have a strong attack, by the way, I've added mobile support for strong attacks. You just have to tap and hold it on the screen. But if you want your weapon to have a strong attack, you add another function inside this weapon strong attacks module here. name it the item name. It's not necessary. You don't have to do this, but if you want it to have a strong attack, add one that matches the item type. The only weapon that has a strong attack right now is the sword because the sword is underpowered compared to the infinite piercing power of lightning. So I decided to give it more of an attack like strong stuff where you spin around. Anyway, I think that's everything. I think I covered everything important. There's a lot of optimizations made, but I can't really talk about that because it's just improvements. Yeah, besides those bugs I found in the video, I think everything's good. I'll fix those now, but hopefully I helped you out. Hopefully this kit is a lot better now. It's easier to work with.